It is always great when you bring me something new. For example, this time the 8 values test. So agnostic brony meant I should do it once more, and this time describe my position. So yeah, fair enough, let's do that. So the 8 values test is more or less like the political compass, but with 8 values and in the sense 4 axes where you can move. It's about economy, that is on the one side equality, so more or less redistribution of everything and open markets in the other extreme. On the diplomatic axis it's nation against world. On the civil it's liberty against authoritarian. And you have then social issues between tradition and progress. So let's start it. You will be presented with a series of statements. For each one, click the button with your opinion on it. Yes, got it. Oppression by corporations is more of a concern than oppression by governments. No, I strongly disagree, because corporations have no armies yet. It is necessary for the government to intervene in economy to protect the customer. I tend to agree a bit here, because I'm European and it's kind of what we do over here. The freer the markets, the freer the people. You see, it looks like a contradiction to the question 2, but yes, I agree strongly here. It is better to maintain a balanced budget than to ensure welfare for all citizens. Yeah, I have to strongly agree here, because to not agree would mean you finance welfare on the costs of your children. Public funded research is more beneficial to the people than leaving it to the market. I disagree. Not strongly, but a bit. Because research in the open market is focused on a product, and it has always to benefit the company, while publicly funded research tends to be a bit useless. International trade is beneficial. Yes, I agree. From each according to his abilities, to each according to his needs. Yeah, it sounds so wonderful, but nobody can define that, so I strongly disagree. It's just a catchphrase, nothing more. It would be the best if social programs were abolished in favor of private charity. I strongly agree there. Taxes should be increased to the rich to provide for the poor. Well, no, I strongly disagree, because it doesn't work that way. There are a lot of way cleverer guys, mostly in the anarcho-capitalist crowd, who can pinpoint that very, very well. It just don't works. Inheritance is a legitimate form of wealth. Yeah, I agree. The point is when it is enough to inherit it, but you don't have to work with your inheritance. Let's say you inherited some mercenaries who run around and kill people for money. Is this a legitimate form of wealth? So it strongly depends on what is the inheritance. But still, I would say I agree a bit here. Public utilities like roads and electricity should be publicly owned. Well, this is a tough one, I have to say. I'm quite neutral here, because I have seen a lot of privately owned things in this regard, and they don't seem to work very, very, very well, while our system with a lot of publicly owned thingies work at least good, although they are quite inefficient, so I have to stay neutral here. Excessive government intervention is a threat to the economy. Yeah, strongly agree there. Those with great ability to pay should receive better health care. So this is the idea that those who pay more get more. Yeah, well, I strongly agree. I mean, it makes sense, isn't it? Quality education is a right of all people. I would rephrase it. I would say quality education for those who can work with this quality education brings a lot of benefits to all people. So I would say yes here. I strongly agree, because it has a service for all. The means of the production should belong to the workers who use them. I strongly disagree there. It doesn't work that way. The United Nations should be abolished. Yeah, I strongly agree. They don't work. They just don't work. It was a funny idea, but doesn't work. Military action by our nation is often necessary to protect it. I am Austrian. Our military actions are not very interesting. So I would say I strongly disagree. I support regional unions such as the European Union. I used to. I really used to. But now I have to strongly disagree because they tend to evolve in a little bit strange directions. It is important to maintain our national sovereignty. I strongly agree. A united world government would be beneficial to mankind. It depends, isn't it? But as it looks right now, I would strongly disagree, because you have then a centralized government that doesn't care anymore for anyone. It is more important to retain peaceful relations than to further our strengths. Yes, I agree. Wars do not need to be justified to other countries. Oh yes, they have to be justified to other countries. When you run around as the biggest bully and bully everything around everyone, there should be consequences. Military spending is a waste of money. Well, I disagree there. You have to have military, but it depends vastly how much money you blow out the window. International aid is a waste of money. I strongly agree. It doesn't work. My nation is great. Yes, no, neutral here. Research should be conducted on an international scale. Yeah, well, if the market is in charge, it is conducted on an international scale pretty fast. Ask in some companies that work on a global scale. So yes, governments should be accountable to an international community. Oh yeah, I strongly agree. Foremost, they should be accountable to their own people. Even when protesting an authoritarian government, violence is not acceptable. Well, I disagree. Sometimes it is. My religious values should be spread as much as possible. I don't know what he's talking about there, but I strongly disagree, because who cares? Our nation's values should be spread as much as possible. Now, I strongly disagree there. It's our values. Others have other values, and they should stay in their space, and we should stay in our space. It is very important to maintain law and order. I agree. The general population makes poor decisions. No, I disagree. Often they make pretty well decisions. Victimless crimes such as drug use should not be crimes at all. I disagree lightly there. It's a feeling thing. I just have to disagree there lightly. The sacrifice of some civil liberties is necessary to protect us from acts of terrorism. Yes and no, I'm quite neutral there, I have to say, because whenever you have a state, you sacrifice some of your civil liberties for protection. So everyone who says, no, we have to keep all of our liberties, is in the end an anarchist. I'm not an anarchist, I have no problems with a state, I just want the state to be a little bit smaller. So I'm neutral here. Government surveillance is necessary in the modern world. Yeah, in the end, yes. But the big question is, who do you surveil? This is the essential question. But yes, it is. If you want to have a government and the government wants to be stable, it has to do surveillance. They always did. They do it now in another way, but they always did. The very existence of the state is a threat to our liberty. Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. It brings safety, and you pay with liberty for your safety. But yeah, the sentence is correct. Regardless of political opinions, it is important to side with your country. I so strongly disagree. If my country is wrong, it's wrong. No authority should be left unquestioned. I strongly agree. Ask anything. Question everything. A hierarchical state is the best. Yeah, the thing is, I agree. It works best. That's evolution. It is important that the government follows the majority opinion, even if it is wrong. You see, there we are back with the question if the crowd is right or wrong. Yeah, I agree. That's democracy. Every nation with its own set of rules and its own set of peoples should do what these people want. Government is just a tool from the people for the people. Nothing. This is not for leading them to a better world or something like that. It's just a tool. The stronger the leadership, the better. I strongly disagree there. Because when you have a strong leadership, you kill a lot of competition, you lead a lot of creativity. So no, absolutely not. Democracy is more than a decision-making process. Yeah, it's a philosophy. It's really more than that. Environmental regulations are essential. I agree lightly here, because they make some sense. A better world will come from automation, science and technology. Yeah, I agree strongly here. Children should be educated in religious or traditional values. It depends on the parents. I would not say it has to be, and who defines what's religion, what's a traditional value. So no, I strongly disagree. Traditions are of no value of their own. Yeah, of course, you have to carry them, you have to practice them. A tradition alone is absolutely useless. So I strongly agree. Religion should play a role in government. Oh, I absolutely disagree. I strongly disagree there. Do I have to say anything more to that? Churches should be taxed the same where other institutions are taxed. I strongly agree, of course. What else? Climate change is currently one of the greatest threats to our way of life. I'm neutral here. The thing is, from everything I learned about climate change is that the most qualified answer to the question to climate change is we don't know. It's like to figure out where I'm going. Do I go to Berlin or to Frankfurt or to Russia or something like that? But you only have values for my first 100 meters. We just don't know it. We don't have enough data. It is important that we work as a united world to combat climate change. I disagree there. I don't think that we can change a lot there. Society was better many years ago than it is today. No, I strongly disagree. That's a myth. It is important that we maintain the traditions of our past. I'm neutral here. I'm really neutral here. I don't care a lot for traditions, but some of them are funny and some people around me like them, so I don't have a problem with them, so don't have to say, oh, we have to abolish traditions. No, I'm neutral here. I just don't care. It is important that we think in the long term beyond our lifespans. I agree lightly here. Our main focus should always be our own life, but we should keep in mind, especially if we have children, and you should have children, to keep in mind that they want to live too. So I say I strongly agree. Now I say yeah, no. So I have to say I agree there. If you strongly agree there, you don't live your own life, you live the life of your grandchildren, and that's also quite stupid. Reason is more important than maintaining our culture. I strongly agree there. Drugs should be legalized and decriminalized. No, I'm neutral here. I don't think a lot of people are able to work with this kind of freedom. It might sound strange, and I guess some of your anarcho-capitalists hate me for that, but I think some people, let's say children, if you completely legalize this stuff, an 8-year-old can't figure out how to use or not use cocaine. It doesn't work like that. Same-sex marriage should be legal. I strongly agree, because I don't care. No cultures are superior to others. I strongly disagree there. I mean, there are definitely cultures who don't bring anything but misery. Sex outside marriage is immoral. I strongly disagree. That's bullshit. If we accept migrants at all, it is important that they assimilate in our culture. Yes, of course. Why else do they come over than to assimilate to our culture? When you leave your own culture, you say, I go to a culture that I like more. There's no question about that. Abortion should be prohibited in most or all cases. No, I strongly disagree there. Gun ownership should be prohibited for those without a valid reason. Now, what's the valid reason there? I'm neutral because I don't understand it clearly. I support single-payer universal health care. No, I disagree there. I mean, I know how it is and yeah, it works. No, let's say I strongly disagree there because I see what it brings over here. Prostitution should be illegal. I strongly disagree. That's bullshit. People should do with their bodies whatever they want. Maintaining family values is essential. I strongly agree there. Yes, family is always the core of the society. To seize progress at all costs is dangerous. I strongly agree, because you don't know where it leads you. Genetic modification is a force for good, even on humans. Yeah, I agree there. I would really say I agree there. I think this is a tool that can really benefit us. We should open our borders to immigration. Yeah, well, you see, we did that and it seems to be not such a good idea. So I would have been neutral on that 3 years ago, or perhaps be open to that. But since it happened, I strongly disagree now. Governments should be as concerned about foreign citizens as they are about those within their own borders. I strongly disagree. A government has to care for its own people, his own people, not run around in the world and bring peace and happiness to all other people. Care for your own people, stay within your own borders. This is what governments should do. No, they should not care for foreign citizens. All people, regardless of factor, culture, sexuality, should be treated equally. Yes, they should be treated equally, but you can accept the same result, but you should treat them equally as much as possible. So you can't treat an adult like a child and so on. So I have to agree lightly there, because there are some cases where it doesn't work. It is important that we further my group's goals above all others. I strongly disagree. Because what's my group? I don't know what my group is, but I don't care for groups, so no, I strongly disagree there. So how do we end up now? Economy access. Well, it looks like I made it more into the markets than my last time. Diplomatic access, it looks like I'm pretty much 50-50. Civil access, it looks like I'm more liberal than authoritarian. What a surprise, what a surprise. Social access, I'm more into progress than tradition. So all in all, you see, I'm still quite in the middle, but when I do the same test, it would look different in about a week or so, like these things are. But I feel pretty nice in the center. So you say it's classic liberalism. Yeah, whatever. So I hope this helped you to see how this test works and you get some insights how I felt today. Again, it might look pretty different in 1 year or just a month or just tomorrow, but more or less these are my 8 values. Guys, thanks for watching. Make the test, give me your results, it's funny, and have a great day.